Good morning, Andy Lockwood here with College Coffee Talk, part of an ongoing experiment to try to answer each of the questions that Pearl and I have received over the last, I guess, 2.5 years when we do webinars and live workshops and emails that come in and all that. So today's question is about getting into college, and this comes from Karen and originally submitted a couple of weeks ago on the 13th, right before the Ides of March. And this question is, if you had to pick one thing for us to teach on the webinar, what would that be? I guess that's the question we asked people. And her response is the truth about how you can get into a top school and make others green with envy if you're a regular kid and have the same grades in the ACT, SAT scores as 5,000 other applicants. So what Karen was doing was really parroting back to me some of the marketing I had done for that to promote that webinar, which I, in turn, was parroting back from myself, not plagiarizing, the book that I had written a couple of years ago called The Incomparable Applicant, which makes a great holiday gift. Mother's Day is coming up. And the subtitle of that is The Ultimate Real-World, Non-Politically Correct Guide to Giving Yourself an Almost Unfair Advantage Over the Other 5,000 Applicants with the Same Grades and SAT Scores. So, that's quite a mouthful. Here's the deal. The first step is just understanding that getting into college is not a meritocracy. It's more marketing than meritocracy. What I mean by that is there's all sorts of advantages given to many, many more people than you would probably think who are applying to college. So there's a great book written by a Duke University former admissions officer, Rachel Toor, I think Toor. I can't remember the name of the book off the top of my head, because I didn't write it. And the gist of the book, the one thing that kind of shocked me, and I'm pretty hard to shock, is that schools like Duke and other very competitive schools reserve a large percentage of slots for what they deem to be non-academic reasons or special factors, special circumstances. Duke or Rachel Toor thought it was at least 2/3, and some admissions officers that she spoke with said it could be as high as 80% of the slots. So, so a couple of comments. First of all, what that means is that if you're not a special, one of the special categories, and you are applying to a school that admits, let's say 20% on its surface, your real rate is going to be a lot lower than 20% because those special circumstance type people tend to bring down the published GPA, SAT, and ACT scores. I guess I kind of alluded to the non-politically correct nature of this type of discussion, so I'm not here to pull punches or lie to you, try to snow you over. Here are the special circumstance types of people that get these slots allotted to them. Underrepresented minorities, international students, recruited athletes, legacies, people whose parents went there, ultra-affluent families known as development cases, meaning that the college is hoping to develop them into contributors to their endowment, and a bunch of other types of people. But those are the main ones. So that could be at least 2/3, if not 80%. So you have to work extra hard to get into a school, just understanding those odds. So that's really the first step, is understanding the odds. The second step is understanding something I mentioned before, that it's not a meritocracy. It is more marketing than meritocracy. So what I mean by that is you have to look at what you are bringing to the table besides your grades and your scores. Now, a mentor of mine who was on the admissions committee of Princeton for 30 years told me, in his best guess, that approximately 60% only is the weight given to, for an admissions officer, is the weight given to academics. Meaning, if your grades and scores are great, that's of course important, but that's 60% of the decision. So the other 40% is never anything that guidance counselors or Naviance, if your high school uses that, or other tools, really factors in. So if you're looking for ways to stand out, then you have to focus on that 40, and you're not one of those special categories, then you have to focus on that 40%. So I had a conversation yesterday in the office, and we were talking about this, and I said, look, let me not mince words here. Admissions officers have a really hard time by the way, this is another reason why it's not a meritocracy. Admissions officers have a really hard time trying to figure out whether a kid can do well in college, can succeed in doing the work. And the main reason is because of all the grade inflation. And the mom said, what do you mean? I think kids today work so hard. I said, yeah, I agree with you, but it seems like every kid that I sit down with when they're coming in to discuss me potentially mentoring them one-on-one to coach them through the whole college process, it seems like every kid has between a 92 and a 96 average. There are very few kids with lower and there are some kids with higher averages, but it's really hard to not have an A average for a lot of kids who do a little bit of work. The A is the most commonly given grade in high school. So we kind of went back and forth because she didn't really understand that. She was saying kids work hard. I said, yeah, I'm not saying they don't. We're having two different discussions. I'm not saying they don't work hard. I'm just saying that the most commonly given grade is A. Likewise, there are more people in the National Honor Society than who are not in the National Honor Society each year. That is another, it's almost meaningless. It probably is a meaningless, just to be totally candid, meaningless accolade or award. It's like a participation trophy. If everyone is in National Honor Society, then what does it mean? What's the achievement there? So my point is that all the stuff that kids and parents along with them get bogged down in or sort of tunnel visioned about may not be so helpful. So then this mom yesterday said something very interesting to me, which I really appreciated. She said, "Okay, you have a senior. Like, what'd you tell him to do?" So I said, "Okay, well, I'll tell you about my two high school kids. I have a 12th grade boy and an 8th grade boy. Then we have two girls who are in 12th and 10th boys, and then 8th and 6th girls." And I said, "Okay, well, that's a great question." So my 12th grader, who is not the most academically motivated guy throughout high school, but he has other redeeming qualities. He is, and one of those qualities is that he has worked a lot since he was, before he could legally work. So in 8th grade, he worked at an auto mechanics shop for a couple of years. And he did things like that. That is atypical. It's so in other words, it's great to be in a club, but it's kind of atypical to found a club. It's great to play sports, which my son did also. He played football and golf, but working all the time is kind of atypical. He also won an award for writing an article for the school newspaper. So so he was able to stand out a little bit to show that he had potential. My 10th grader is a different kid. He's a little bit more entrepreneurial. And I guess either in 8th or 9th grade, he started not only helping me with a lot of stuff like this, social media stuff, but he also picked up a few clients, and who are business owners, and helped them. So now he's getting a job locally, and so he's standing out also. So it's one thing to have a job, which is kind of unusual. It's another thing to start your own business. So those are the types of things that can help you stand out from that sea of sameness, when you have virtually the same grades and scores as all these other competitor applicants. So you have to understand, again, that you don't want to be perceived as a commodity. And another way that I say this is that, listen, colleges are businesses. I know they're nonprofit, which is a joke. All that means is they don't pay taxes on their earnings. But what a lot of kids don't really get is that they're in business for themselves, whether or not they realize it. You have to start treating yourself as a business. You're the CEO of your own business, and you need to think about how to improve the value or how to market that product, which is you. So if you do that, you'll be able to improve your odds of getting into your top choice school and stand out from the other 5,000 kids that look the same on paper. Okay. If you are enjoying these and you think they're valuable information and you want to share it, I would love you to do that. That's why I do these, to try to help give information that you may not be getting from your guidance counselor or friends or know-it-all sister-in-law whose kid got into Penn, who's now a college expert, or anything like that. So please, if you have any questions that I'm provoking out of you, just pop them in comments right here. If you want to that'd be great. But I'm trying to expand our reach. We have all sorts of stuff going on. At a given time, we're trying to open up an office on the South Shore of Long Island. We're doing an ACT cram course this weekend. If you have any and next weekend. So if you have any questions about any of this stuff or just about college in general, just throw them down there in comments, and I'll do my best to get back to them within 24-ish hours. Okay. That's all for today's episode of College Coffee Talk. I'll be back tomorrow morning. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.